Welcome to the Playing Books podcast.
Hello. Today we're embarking on a really deep exploration, a thorough look into a foundational text, you could say, for American self-conception, George Washington's rules of civility and decent behavior.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We usually picture Washington fully formed, the stoic general, the president stepping down, the almost mythic figure.
Exactly, the finished article.
But this book, or rather these rules he copied out, it feels like we're looking at the raw materials, the actual scaffolding he used to build that persona.
And he did it so young. By age 16, apparently, copying them out by hand. Our goal in this podcast episode is to really unpack this code, all 110 rules, and ask, how much did this contribute to the man he became?
Was it just raw talent and luck? I mean, Thomas Jefferson wrote famously around 1814 something like, "Never did nature and fortune combine more perfectly to make a man great." High praise.
Absolutely. But Jefferson's looking back, seeing the monument, we're asking you, the listener, to consider with us. Was that greatness purely innate, or was it built piece by painstaking piece through the sheer discipline of following rules like these?
That's the real puzzle we want to explore. And the backstory is just layers of interest and complexity. He didn't even write them.
Right. He copied them. It was likely a penmanship exercise. Something his schoolmaster said him.
And the rules themselves, they had this whole other life before Washington even saw them. French Jesuits, 1595. That's a long way from revolutionary Virginia.
A completely different world, a Catholic European code of conduct. Then they make their way into English, maybe around 1640, attributed amazingly to a 12-year-old boy named Francis Hawkins.
A 12-year-old translator, wow.
It's quite the journey. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is drawing on analysis by Richard Brookhiser. He points out that, traditionally Western manners, things like courtesy, chivalry, they were aristocratic.
Court behavior, knightly behavior, makes sense.
Exactly. But Washington, the man copying these rules, would dedicate his life to overthrowing a system based on that very aristocracy, on court control.
So how does that work? He's using the enemy's playbook, in a way, training himself in the manners of the people he'd fight against. Wouldn't that make him seem out of touch or even hypocritical?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But Brookhiser argues, and this is crucial, that these rules, maybe unintentionally, weren't just about bowing to dukes and earls. They actually laid out a system of courtesy that worked really well between equals or near equals.
So it's adaptable. Less about rigid hierarchy, more about basic human respect.
Precisely. It's grounded in self-restraint, in considering others, not just in knowing who gets the lower bow. It's about managing yourself in company.
Which suddenly makes it incredibly useful for building a republic, not just navigating a court.
Exactly. Think about Parson Weems, the cherry tree guy.
Can't forget him.
He had this insight. He said something like, "No wonder everybody honored him who honored everybody." Washington had practiced this decent behavior so thoroughly that when the company expanded from his local gentry to the entire nation, he was ready. He already knew how to honor everyone.
Because the core principle was universal respect, not just rank.
That's the idea. So our mission in this podcast episode isn't just to look back, it's practical. We want you, the listener, to join us in thinking. What lessons from this 18th century code are still relevant? How can these rules actually enhance our lives, our interactions today?
It's a challenge. Let's see what we find.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Part 1. The fundamental pillars. Rules 1 through 8. Rule number 1.
It really does set the tone, doesn't it?
It's everything, really. Every action done in company ought to be with some sign of respect to those that are present.
Every single action.
It's an immediate demand for outward focus. You can't be self-absorbed if you're constantly monitoring your actions for how they impact others, for whether they signal respect. It flips the switch from me to us.
And straight after that big principle, he gets incredibly practical. Physical stuff, things that clearly young George found annoying.
Oh, definitely. Rule 2, don't put your hands on parts of the body not usually discovered.
Okay, basic decorum. And rule 7, don't go out half-dressed. Present yourself properly.
It's about establishing professional distance, right? Defining the line between your private self and your public presentation. When you're in company, you need to be fully assembled, visually and behaviorally. No sloppiness allowed.
We see that casualness creeping back in today, maybe, in some settings.
Perhaps. These rules demand a level of constant composure that feels quite formal now. And then there's the focus on noise, involuntary noise, Rule 4.
Ah, yes, the humming noise or drumming fingers or feet, the little signs of impatience or distraction.
It's fascinating. It's like an 18th century guide to managing your own nervous energy because it impacts the collective. Your tapping foot imposes your internal state on everyone else.
But he's also realistic. Some things you just have to do. Coughing, sneezing, yawning.
Yeah.
That brings us to Rule 5.
And the instruction is total discretion. Do it not loud, but privately. Use a handkerchief or hand, turn aside, and critically, speak not in your yawning.
Why is speaking while yawning so bad? It seems minor.
Think about it in their context. Close quarters, emphasis on social harmony. A yawn, especially during conversation, signals boredom or fatigue. To speak through the yawn means you're prioritizing your physical state over the flow of the conversation, over respecting the speaker. It's a microaggression against the group's focus.
Containment. It all comes back to containing the self for the sake of the group.
Exactly. And that leads right into Rule 6, which is almost poetic. Sleep not when others speak, sit not when others stand, speak not when you should hold your peace, walk not on when others stop.
It's about synchronization, mirroring the group, being present.
Completely. It shows you're attentive, you're part of the collective rhythm. Rule 8 extends this even to relaxation. By the fire or at play, give space to the newcomer. Don't talk too loud.
Even downtime isn't fully off.
Not if you're practicing this level of civility. If Rule 1 is the foundation, every action shows respect, then aligning yourself with the group's energy and flow is the most basic way to demonstrate that respect. You yield.
Okay, so if that first batch is about managing sound and basic presence, the next set really doubles down on the physical self, on appearance and specific bodily control. This is part 2, looking at rules 9 through 16 and then picking up 51 to 54 later.
And we start with Rule 9, which feels incredibly specific to its time, the fireplace rules.
Right. Spit not on the fire, don't stoop too low, don't put your hands in the flames, or rest your feet on the hearth, especially if there's meat cooking.
Yes, crucial detail there.
It sounds almost quaint. What's the takeaway for us beyond not spitting in fires?
It's about respecting shared resources and spaces.
Okay.
The fireplace was the communal hub for warmth, for light, sometimes for cooking. To treat it disrespectfully, like using it as a spittoon or putting your muddy boots all over it, is to basically claim public space for your private convenience or mess.
So the modern version is, don't treat the break room microwave like your personal garbage disposal. Don't put your feet up on the shared coffee table.
Pretty much. Don't degrade the common areas. Respect the shared environment. It's a surprisingly relevant principle.
Then Washington, or whoever compiled these, goes into this incredibly detailed focus on, well, fidgeting, tics, micro-movements, rules 10, 11, 12, 13, and 16.
It's intense. Rule 10, keep feet firm, even, no crossing. Rule 11, don't shift around, don't gnaw your nails.
And rule 12, this is the classic. It lists everything. No shaking your head, feet, or legs. No rolling eyes or raising eyebrows excessively. No making a wry mouth. And the absolute gem, bedew no man's face with your spittle by approaching too near him when you speak.
You have to love the directness. Bedew no man's face.
It's graphic. But that point about approaching too near, it's literally defining personal space based on, well, spit.
It is. It's the ultimate invasion, isn't it? To get so close, your enthusiasm literally lands on someone. It dictates that your conversational energy has to be bounded by physical respect for the other person's clean face and personal bubble. It's a very physical definition of deference. Keep your distance.
It makes sense. And Rule 13 tackles unpleasant sights, vermin, spit on the floor, dirt. The advice isn't just ignore it.
No, it's proactive but discreet. If you see filth on the ground, put your foot dexterously upon it. Hide it. If it's on someone else's clothes, remove it privately. If on yours, thank the helper.
Dexterously. I love that. It's about smoothly managing ugliness without making a scene.
Exactly. The height of politeness is shielding the company from unpleasantness. You handle it quickly, quietly. It's almost a leadership move to, take care of the problem without alarming or disgusting everyone else.
And then facial control again in Rule 16. No puffing cheeks, lolling the tongue, odd lip movements. It's like he's trying to achieve perfect stillness.
A neutral, controlled canvas. And this ties into the rules on cleanliness and clothing 51 to 54. Rule 15 actually bridges the gap. Keep nails, hands, teeth clean, but without showing any great concern for them.
So be clean, but don't be obviously vain about it. Don't sit there buffing your nails in public.
Precisely. Rule 51 follows up. Wear clean clothes, brush them daily. Basic hygiene and maintenance.
But Rule 52 is the interesting one about style. Modesty. Accommodate nature. Don't try to procure admiration. Dress like your equals.
This is such a key rule against social climbing or arrogance through display. Your clothes should be appropriate, clean, functional, but not designed to shout, "Look how rich, important, fashionable I am." Dressing way above your station or even just ostentatiously creates friction. True civility is about fitting in respectfully.
And Rule 54 nails the behavior this prevents. Play the peacock. Constantly checking yourself out, fussing with your clothes, shoes, stockings.
Because if you're doing that, where's your attention? It's on yourself, not the company. It screams self-absorption. The ideal presentation these rules advocate for is clean, appropriate, and then completely forgotten about. The focus should be on the interaction, not the outfit.
Okay, let's shift gears. We've covered the body, the appearance. Now, part 3 gets into the social dynamics, managing information and social hierarchy, Rules 17 through 42. This feels like where we really see the 18th century context, with all the talk of degree and quality.
Definitely. This is trickier for us today because we don't have, or at least don't formally acknowledge, the same rigid social strata. Back then, quality often meant landed gentry, established families, high official rank. Degree was your recognized place in that structure. Washington was learning to operate within that system, even as he was, perhaps unconsciously, preparing to lead a revolution against its premises.
Rule 18 feels surprisingly modern, though. Protecting information. Read no letters, books, or papers in company unless necessary and with permission. Don't hover over someone's writing. Don't give unasked opinions on it.
It's a remarkably comprehensive rule for intellectual privacy, isn't it? Basically, don't snoop. Don't eavesdrop digitally or physically. Don't critique unless invited. In an age of open-plan offices and constant online commentary, this is a powerful call for restraint. Respect the boundaries of other people's thoughts and work.
Then the rules turn to emotional displays. Rule 19. Pleasant countenance usually, but in serious matters somewhat grave. Match your expression to the situation.
And controlling negative emotions, even justified ones. Rule 22. Show not yourself glad at the misfortune of another, though he were your enemy.
That's hard. Schadenfreude is a powerful impulse.
It is. And Rule 23 takes it further. When a crime is punished, you might be inwardly pleased justice is done, but outwardly, always show pity to the suffering offender.
Why the pity, if they deserve the punishment?
It's about projecting magnanimity, I think, especially for someone aspiring to leadership. Gloating, even over a deserving enemy's downfall, diminishes your own stature. Public compassion, even if it's just a show, maintains a higher moral ground. It separates justice from personal vengeance.
Okay, then we get into the really formal stuff. Ceremony. Rules 25, 26, 27. Avoiding superfluous compliments, but giving ceremony where it's due. And the hat etiquette.
Oh, the hat rules are a whole microcosm of the social order. Rule 26 and 27 detail precisely when and how to remove your hat for people of distinction, nobles, justices, clergy, and how to handle it among equals. It's incredibly complex.
Like Rule 27 warning, it's bad manners to tell a superior to put his hat back on if he insists you keep yours on. It's a minefield.
It really is, but the goal is clarity. Everyone knows the code, so ideally no one feels slighted. The gestures reinforce the accepted hierarchy, preventing awkwardness or unintentional insult. The person of quality must always feel their status is acknowledged.
And this obsession with status carries right over into physical space. Rules 28 to 34, 39, 42, the rules of place and degree.
Rule 28 is a great example of the blend. Stand up though he be your inferior when someone comes to speak to you. That's universal human respect.
Right, acknowledge their presence.
But then, immediately after, present seats strictly according to their degree. So universal courtesy meets specific social hierarchy. You stand for everyone, but the best chair goes to the highest rank.
And navigating tight spaces, Rule 29. If you meet someone of greater quality, especially in a narrow passage, you stop and step aside.
You yield the path. And walking together, Rule 30 is meticulously choreographed. The place of honor is the right hand. You walk on the left of the person you're honoring. If there are 3 people, the middle position is the most honored.
It takes all the guesswork out of it. Deference is built into the physical arrangement.
And the dance continues with Rules 31 and 32 about accepting or refusing the chief place. If a superior offers you the best seat, you demur politely, but they shouldn't have to ask more than twice. If an equal offers it, you refuse once, then accept the second time, maybe mumbling something about your unworthiness.
It sounds exhausting, like social theater.
It is social theater designed to smooth interactions and prevent anyone from looking like they're grabbing for status. Everyone performs their expected role. Rule 34 sums it up. Always prefer them to whom you speak before yourself.
Basic deference. And Rule 39 reinforces using proper titles. Rule 42 says ceremony must fit the person. You don't treat a clown like a prince.
The system demands differentiation. Then we have rules for specific interactions. Rule 35, dealing with men of business. Keep it short and comprehensive.
Respect their time, don't waffle.
Exactly. Rule 36 addresses interactions across significant class divides. Artificers and those of low degree must show respect upwards. Those of high degree should treat them with affability and courtesy without arrogance, a balance of deference and graciousness.
And speaking to quality, Rule 37 brings back the physical distance. Don't lean in, don't stare them full in the face, keep a full pace away.
That physical buffer reinforces the social distance. It's a constant reminder of rank.
Finally, in this section, intellectual humility. Rule 40 is stark. Strive not with your superiors in argument, but always submit your judgment to others with modesty.
Don't pick fights with the boss, essentially. Even if you think you're right, frame it modestly.
And Rule 41. This one feels incredibly relevant for today's workplace or online debates. Undertake not to teach your equal in his own art. It savors of arrogance.
Oh, absolutely. Don't be a know-it-all in someone else's domain. Respect their expertise. Stay in your lane. It's a direct antidote to the kind of intellectual grandstanding Washington clearly wanted to avoid. Powerful stuff.
Okay, moving into part 4. This feels like a shift towards character and leadership. Managing reputation, conflict, and truth. Rules 44 through 71.
Yes, we're moving from navigating existing hierarchies to shaping one's own conduct and influence within them. And it starts with how you handle failure, both others and your own potential need for correction. Rule 44 is about fairness.
Right. If someone messes up but they genuinely try their best, blame not him that did it. Judge the effort, not just the outcome.
It's generous. And then the rules for giving criticism. Rule 45 is a masterclass. Think about timing, public or private. Think about the words you use. And crucially, deliver it without anger. No sign of choler, but do it with all sweetness and mildness.
Why is the lack of anger so vital? Sometimes criticism needs to be sharp, doesn't it?
According to this rule, no. Because if you deliver it angrily, what does the recipient hear? They hear the anger, the aggression, they get defensive. They likely miss the actual point of the feedback. Delivering it calmly, mildly, keeps the focus on the substance of the issue, not your emotional reaction. It forces you to be disciplined before correcting someone else.
Makes sense. And the flip side, Rule 46, receiving correction. Take all admonitions thankfully, even if you think you're innocent.
Even then, accept it graciously in the moment. If you need to clarify things, Rule 46 says, do it later, privately at a convenient time. Don't argue back immediately. Let it land. Show you can take feedback.
That requires serious maturity.
It does. And it all culminates in Rule 48, the ultimate leadership principle, wherein you reprove another, be unblameable yourself, for example, is more prevalent than precepts.
Walk the talk. Your criticism only has weight if your own conduct is sound.
Exactly. Washington must have taken this one to heart. His entire authority, military and political, depended on his perceived integrity. You can't lead if you're seen as a hypocrite.
Then there's a set of rules about humor. It seems Washington, or the source, was wary of jokes. Rule 47. Don't mock important things. No sharp, biting jests. And if you do say something witty, don't laugh at it yourself.
That last part is brilliant. Laughing at your own joke just reeks of vanity, doesn't it? Look how clever I am. And the ban on sharp, biting jests connects to Rule 65. Use no injurious words, neither in jest nor earnest.
So humor's okay, but not if it wounds. Wit is fine, but cruelty isn't.
That seems to be the line. Humor shouldn't be a weapon used to diminish others. It has to be good-natured, or at least not malicious.
The rules then pivot to reputation management, particularly around information and association. Rule 50. Be not hasty to believe flying reports to the disparagement of any.
Basically, don't spread rumors. Verify things first. Critical thinking applied to gossip. This feels incredibly relevant today with online information, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And Rule 56 is about who you hang out with. Associate yourself with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation. For it's better to be alone than in bad company.
Your network reflects on you. Choose wisely. It's classic advice, but Washington is framing it as a rule of civility and reputation management. Bad company drags you down publicly.
And respecting boundaries. Rule 60. Don't pressure friends to reveal secrets. Rule 68. Don't show up uninvited. Give advice only when asked, and keep it brief.
These are all about respecting autonomy and privacy. Don't pry, don't impose. Wait to be invited in, literally and figuratively.
Rule 69 deals with conflict. Don't jump into disputes unless you have to. And if you do, don't be stubborn, especially on minor points in things indifferent be of the major side.
It's pragmatic. Don't waste your social or political capital arguing about trivialities. Concede on the small stuff to maintain harmony or build alliances for the bigger battles. Save your stubbornness for things that truly matter.
Finally, this section addresses how to deal with physical imperfections or differences. Rule 21. Reproach none for infirmities of nature. Don't mock disabilities or natural flaws.
And Rule 71 is about gaze. Gaze not on the marks or blemishes of others and ask not how they came. Don't stare. Don't pry into personal histories related to scars or conditions.
It's about granting people dignity, regardless of their physical state. And Rule 70 adds another layer, criticizing imperfections. That's for parents, masters, superiors. It's not your job.
Know your place in the feedback hierarchy. Unless it's your direct responsibility, observe respectfully and silently. Don't make others' vulnerabilities your business. It's compassion expressed through restraint.
All right, let's dive into Part 5, the skill of conversation and discourse. Rules 57 through 89. We've covered body language, hierarchy, reputation. Now it's about the actual talking.
And the foundation, again, is temperament. Rule 58, keep malice and envy out of your conversation. Let reason govern passion. Stay rational, stay constructive.
And Rule 66 encourages being actively pleasant. Be friendly, courteous, quick to greet and respond. Don't be moody or pensive when it is time to converse. Participate positively.
Bring good energy to the interaction. Don't be a conversational black hole. Rule 67 adds, don't tear others down, detract not. And don't be overly bossy, excessive and commanding. Balance.
Then there's a big focus on matching your conversation to your audience. Rule 61 is key here.
Absolutely. Utter not base and frivolous things amongst grave and learned men. Don't talk down to experts, but also don't ask very difficult questions among the ignorant. Don't show off or confuse people unnecessarily, and don't stuff your discourse with sentences meaning like pithy quotes among equals or superiors.
So know your room. Don't bore the smart people. Don't overwhelm the less informed. And don't try too hard to sound profound with your peers.
It's all about respect for the listener's time, intellect, and context. It avoids condescension and pretension.
Rule 62 gets very specific about what not to talk about, especially at certain times. Speak not of doleful things in a time of mirth or at the table. No death, wounds, or sad stories during dinner or parties.
Right. Keep the mood appropriate and, fascinatingly, tell not your dreams, but to your intimate friend.
Yes. Nobody wants to hear your long, confusing dream sequence unless they really know you.
Exactly. Keep the weird internal stuff private unless the audience is right. And Rule 63 is the humility check again. Don't brag about achievements, intelligence, wealth, family connections, even virtue. Let your qualities speak for themselves.
Okay, now the mechanics of speaking and listening. Rule 73 is fundamental. Think before you speak. Simple but profound, and pronounce clearly, orderly, and distinctly, not too fast.
Basic delivery skills. But Rule 74, this one is huge. It's about how to listen. Be attentive. Don't distract others. And the big one. If someone pauses or struggles for a word, don't jump in to help unless asked. Don't interrupt. Don't answer until they are completely finished speaking.
That is incredibly difficult, especially today in fast-paced conversations or debates. We interrupt constantly. Why was this non-interruption rule so absolute for them?
I think it signals ultimate respect for the speaker's thoughts. Interrupting, even to help, implies your contribution is more urgent or important than letting them complete their idea in their own way, at their own pace. Waiting validates their entire turn. It demonstrates patience and genuine focus on them, not on your next chance to speak. It's a cornerstone of respectful dialogue that we've arguably lost quite a bit.
Makes you think. Rule 76 adds another physical dimension to conversation. Don't point your finger at the person you're talking about. And again, don't get too close, especially to his face. Maintain that respectful distance.
The pointing finger can feel accusatory or overly aggressive. It objectifies the person being discussed.
Rule 77 covers business talk. Do it at appropriate times and absolutely whisper not in the company of others.
Whispering instantly creates an in-group and an out-group. It breeds suspicion and exclusion. Bad form.
Rule 78 is subtle. Make no comparisons. If someone is praised, don't immediately praise someone else for the same thing. Let the first person have their moment.
Don't dilute the compliment by turning it into a competition. And Rule 79 circles back to truth and confidentiality. Don't spread news unless you know it's true. Don't always cite your source. Name not your author. And never discover a secret.
Protect confidentiality. Be reliable with information. This builds trust.
Which connects directly to Rule 82. Undertake not what you cannot perform, but be careful to keep your promise. Your word is your bond. Reliability is paramount. don't overpromise.
And Rule 83. Deliver messages neutrally with discretion, no matter who it's for. Don't let your personal feelings color the task.
Professionalism in communication. Then we revisit interactions with superiors. Rule 84, if they're talking to someone else, don't listen in, don't speak, don't laugh, stay out of it.
In Rule 85, if they ask you a question, stand up straight, hat off, answer briefly. Minimal intrusion, maximum deference.
But Rule 86 offers a counterpoint in disputes, even with superiors implicitly involved. Don't be so focused on winning that you shut others down. Give liberty to each one to deliver his opinion, and ultimately, defer to the majority or the designated judges. Value the process and consensus over personal victory.
That's a crucial balance for a republic, isn't it? Deference where appropriate, but also space for reasoned disagreement and collective judgment.
Absolutely. And the section concludes with a simple, powerful moral guide for all conversation, Rule 89. Speak not evil of the absent, for it is unjust.
Protects the person not there to defend themselves, but also protects your own character, right? People won't trust someone who constantly badmouths others behind their backs.
Exactly. It's about fairness, but also about maintaining your own reputation for integrity.
Okay, we've arrived at the dinner table, Part 6. Decorum at the table, Rules 90 through 107. This seems like the ultimate arena for testing all that self-control we've been talking about.
It really is. Close proximity, basic biological functions. It's a minefield for potential faux pas. Rule 90 sets the baseline. Once seated, no scratching, spitting, coughing, or nose blowing unless absolutely necessary, and even then, with utmost discretion.
Containment, again. Then Rule 91 covers the attitude and mechanics. Don't show excessive delight in your victuals, basically. Don't inhale your food with obvious glee. No greediness. Cut your bread with a knife. Don't lean on the table. And critically, don't criticize the food.
Respect the host, control your appetite, and the utensil use gets very specific. Rule 95 has some vivid imagery. Don't put food in your mouth with your knife. Don't spit fruit stones onto a dish. Don't throw anything under the table.
Disposal has to be neat. Where did they put fruit stones, I wonder?
Probably discreetly onto the side of one's own plate or into a napkin, one hopes. The point is, not back into the communal serving dish or onto the floor. Rule 96 adds, don't stoop too low to your food and wipe your fingers on the corner of your napkin. Precision.
And the hygiene rules are about making bodily functions invisible. Rule 100. Don't clean your teeth with a tablecloth, napkin, fork, or knife. If you see someone else doing it, ignore them.
Maintain your own standards, but don't police others overtly at the table. Rule 101 follows. Rinse not your mouth in the presence of others. Keep your ablutions private.
It's all designed to prevent the group from witnessing anything remotely biological or messy. Then there's pacing. Rule 97. Finish one bite before taking another. Keep morsels reasonably sized, not too big for the jowls.
No chipmunk cheeks. And Rule 98. No drinking or talking with your mouth full. Don't stare around while drinking. Keep your focus respectfully contained.
Rule 99 adds, drink moderately, not too slow, not too fast. Wipe lips before and after. Don't breathe too loudly while drinking. It's incredibly granular control.
It really is. Then there are rules about hosting and guesting. Rule 93. As a guest, don't start serving others unless the host asks you to. Respect the host's role.
Rule 102 notes it's becoming out of use to constantly urge people to eat or make toasts every time you drink. A shift towards less performative hospitality, perhaps.
Maybe a bit more relaxed, yes. Rule 103. If you're with betters, don't keep eating after they've finished. And keep just your hand on the table, not your whole arm. Minimal physical presence.
And Rule 104 defines the leader's role at the table. The highest-ranking person starts first, unfolds napkin, takes food, but should do so promptly so that everyone else, including the slowest eater, has enough time.
Leadership means setting an efficient but considerate pace. Don't make others wait unduly, but don't rush them either. Rule 106 adds, don't take the head seat unless it's clearly your due or the host insists. Avoid presumption.
But maybe the most profound rule in this whole section is Rule 105. It's about emotional regulation at the table.
Ah, yes. Be not angry, whatever happens, and if you have reason to be so, show it not. Maintain a cheerful countenance, especially with strangers. And the killer line, for good humor makes one dish of meat a feast.
Wow. So your attitude is more important than the food itself.
That's the message. Civility, good humor, pleasantness. These are the essential ingredients. They can elevate a simple meal into a genuinely enjoyable social occasion. Your mood literally transforms the experience for everyone. It's a powerful charge.
And that leads us perfectly into the final part, Part 7, the moral core and lasting legacy. Rules 108 through 110. After all those incredibly detailed social and physical instructions, Washington ends with three big, foundational moral commands.
It's like he's finally revealing the ultimate purpose behind all the etiquette. This is the why. It's not just about smooth social interaction, it's preparation for a moral life.
Rule 108 starts with reverence, speak of God seriously, and then this powerful injunction, honor and obey your natural parents although they are poor.
That last clause, although they are poor, is so significant in the context of the time, right?
Absolutely. In a society so conscious of wealth and status, this rule says the parent-child bond, the duty, transcends economic standing. Your honor is due because they are your parents, period, not because they have a big estate.
It anchors respect in relationship and duty, not social or financial success. It's a profoundly democratic sentiment, in a way, embedded in this otherwise hierarchical code.
Then Rule 109 turns to downtime. Let your recreations be manful, not sinful.
Even leisure has a purpose. It should build you up. Manful, likely meaning virtuous, responsible, constructive, not tear you down or lead you into vice, sinful. Recreation should align with your overall project of becoming a person of good character, ready for service. It's not just about blowing off steam, it's about restorative, positive activity.
And finally, Rule 110, the capstone, the single sentence that arguably underpins everything else.
Labor to keep alive in your breast that little spark of celestial fire called conscience.
Labor, it's work, it's effort. Conscience isn't passive. It needs tending.
Exactly. This is the internal compass. All the other rules, the politeness, the deference, the self-control, they are the outward expressions of a well-tended conscience. They are the practices that help you live according to that inner moral fire. If your conscience is alive and active, then behaving with civility, with respect, with fairness becomes less about following a checklist and more about acting in accordance with your own deepest values.
So the rules provide the how, but conscience provides the why and the motivation.
Beautifully put. The rules give structure to the moral impulse. They train the habits that allow conscience to guide action effectively in the social world. Conscience protects you from arrogance, from cruelty, from impatience, all the things the rules try to regulate externally.
It brings it all together. Okay, so as we draw towards the end, let's throw this back to you, the listener, for that active participation. Thinking about these rules, especially the ones demanding intense physical control, like Rule 12, no fidgeting, control your face, how much of that feels relevant for managing your professional presence today?
Or maybe flip it. Which rule feels the most jarringly outdated, the most impossible to actually implement now? Is it the complex hat etiquette? Or maybe Rule 74, the absolute ban on interruption during conversation?
Perhaps it's Rule 45, the need to deliver all criticism with sweetness and mildness. How does that land in today's world? It's a really interesting thought experiment, measuring 1740 standards against our own. Which rules still feel essential for a functioning, respectful society and which feel like historical artifacts? So to wrap things up, what did we learn from this deep dive into George Washington's rules of civility and decent behavior? It seems clear they offer much more than just old-fashioned etiquette.
Absolutely. They represent a kind of roadmap for self-creation, a detailed guide for mastering your physical presence, managing your ego, communicating effectively, and navigating complex social landscapes, whether hierarchical or egalitarian, with intention and respect.
The value for you, listening now, is that these rules, even the archaic-sounding ones, force us to think about intentionality. They are an instruction manual for cultivating presence, for being mindful of how our actions impact others. They push towards that core idea. Everyone deserves decent behavior.
And that final challenge we mentioned earlier, we really want to reiterate it. Don't just listen to this as history. Think about how you can actively let some of these ideas inform your life now.
Could you try applying Rule 45 next time you have to give difficult feedback, consciously aiming for mildness, removing the anger?
Or maybe take Rule 56 seriously. Consciously evaluate your company, the people you associate with closely, and ask if they align with the reputation you want to build.
Washington's greatness wasn't just innate genius. It was built on relentless discipline, much of it seemingly rooted in these granular rules of conduct he absorbed so young. His ability to lead a revolution and then a nation started with the disciplined command of himself.
It's a powerful legacy, grounded in seemingly small things.
We really hope this exploration of George Washington's rules of civility and decent behavior has been insightful for you, offering both historical perspective and maybe some practical food for thought.
And if this has piqued your interest, we strongly encourage you to get the book itself. Reading all 110 rules in Washington's context, perhaps with some historical commentary, is a really rewarding experience. So do purchase George Washington's Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior if you'd like to explore further.
We'd also love to continue the conversation. What was your favorite rule we discussed? Or the most surprising one? Find us on social media and share your thoughts and join. Engage with the ideas from the book that resonated with you from this podcast episode.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a fascinating journey. Please do follow, subscribe, and share the Playing Books podcast if you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep learning.